Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here one more time. Now, this is the day after Christmas. And like I've been doing for quite some time, even yesterday on Christmas, was sharing information that I have received in my spirit that I'm comfortable enough to share with you, that the pains and sufferings that you experience every day can dissipate if you, try some new and different methods. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is I want to spend a couple of minutes talking to you about Trump and his supporters and the role that they play in this mess. Also, I want to spend a few minutes talking about Jesus and his supporters and the role that they play in this mess. And also, I want to talk about me and the role that I play in this little mess. So let me begin with me. I remember when I was about 28 years old working for the federal government at the level of counselor with the Veterans Administration at the regional office in Chicago. I decided it was time for me to turn in my certificates, turn in my duties and responsibilities, and direct my path down a new road of life. And that was to eliminate some of the pain and suffering that I got a chance to really experience in Illinois, in Chicago. Even though I came out of the South where we had, still straight up plantation life going on. In Chicago, it was same thing, but a different approach to it. So it was a little bit hid. And so I saw it for what it was, and I wanted to do something about it, so I made that decision. Now, I turned the Veterans Administration loose, but I still needed some money to survive. Now, the reason I turned the Veterans Administration is because it's an important job. You have to concentrate on rules and regulations. You have to keep yourself up to date. You have to keep yourself in contact with those that you're sworn to help and support. And so you don't have really that much time to be thinking about odd things. So what I did, I got a job washing storefront windows. That way I just wipe the rag and whatever sponge and do my thing, but think about what I was thinking about. And so my lifestyle changed, obviously, and in that process, I had been married. Up until that point, but at that time when I made that decision, it's not an acceptable thing for the masses of people to see someone turning away from those things that they themselves have ascribed as being so essential for the peace and prosperity that they want in life. And I understand that because all of us, go through these same changes because what they were taught, we are taught. And so I made a decision that I was not that acceptable, at least to my wife, because she decided that she didn't want to have anything to do with a guy like that. She didn't want to have anything to do with me like that. So she ditched me, and that was cool. Later on, I went into the military, a thing I had avoided because I'm a conscientious objector. I avoided it when I was drafted, so-called drafted. And there was no way I was going to volunteer. But now I find myself at a stance in life where I'm kind of confused. I know what my heart is telling me to do, but all around me seems to be stoppers, something that says you can't go this way. And something led me to join and volunteer for the military. The thing that led me to join and volunteer for the military is when the hostages were taken in Iran. Many of you remember that. The hostages were taken. The Shah was looking for some place to run, and all kind of crazy things were happening. So I joined the military and volunteered for service in the Persian Gulf. So if something happened, if battle happened, then maybe I would die instead of somebody else. Now, was I really trying to die? Not really, but I wanted this lady who was trying to get away from me to let her know that she was important to me. So by me being killed, then maybe the government would owe her something that I was refusing to give her. And maybe that would show her that I did care about her. However, the crisis did not rise to that level. So I ended up being in the military and watching Ronald Reagan, President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, engage himself in policies in Central America and other places of the world that I just couldn't put up with it. I wanted no association with it. I wanted no association with the military and the commander-in-chief at that level that was causing these pains and suffering to other people. And I'm walking around with a uniform on saying I'm part of that. So I rejected the military. I turned my back on it and walked out of it. Didn't want anything from it. Just wanted to get the hell out. And so I came out into a society where people were still looking for answers. And people were asking perhaps that maybe I run for public office, but I had no real interest in that at that time. I was concerned about how am I going to be able to wake the people up, to let them know that there's something better that can happen in their lives. Well, I remembered that what was leading me was a spiritual nature, something to be sort of what I had been taught in church, like Jesus. And so I found myself thinking, well, what better image could I reflect? Who has gone out there, at least as far as we have been told,